Hello, welcome to another episode of the Talking Rangers podcast. Today is Friday, December 29th. It is episode 13 of the Talking Rangers podcast here on YouTube. A lot to get into today on the pod as the New York Rangers get set to play back-to-back games in Florida, today against the Panthers and then tomorrow in Tampa Bay against the Lightning. Joe, how's it going, man?
It's going good. The last couple of games have been pretty eventful. Couple good games, one not so good game, but they're playing well, so it's all you can ask for is just continue to get those points.
Yeah, definitely. They are playing well. They're finding ways to win after that tough loss against Edmonton on Friday of last week or a week ago today. They got the win against Buffalo. They went into the holiday Christmas break, came out on Wednesday, picked up a nice win against Washington after kind of a slow and sluggish first period for both teams. And now they're good set to play the two Florida teams in the Lightning or the Panthers tonight and the Lightning tomorrow. But as we currently sit here, updated standings, 33 games in, they're 24-8-1, 49 points. Most wins in hockey, best point percentage, 6-4 in their last 10, plus 23 point differential. They're still playing well. They're still finding ways to win. And it's kind of interesting when you look at the schedule that the Flyers are still behind them with 42 points. The Metropolitan Division continues to be shocking this year. I think a lot of people would agree when you continue to see teams like the Devils and the Penguins at the bottom and teams like the Flyers right behind the Rain, or not right behind the Rangers, but behind the Rangers, 7 points behind in second place. So we've got a lot to get into, but just wanted to start here. Again, good week, good game on Wednesday against the Capitals. We'll get into a lot of different things. We'll get into some of the lines, what Mika Zibanejad has been able to do. But just what are your overall thoughts on this team right now as we head into these two games against the Panthers and the Lightning, which you can maybe make the case this is probably their most difficult back-to-back against of the season between these two teams, especially Florida, team that's hot right now, coming off of really good back-to-back wins. So what are your expectations moving forward and where this team's at right now coming off the win against the Caps?
Yeah, I think right now they're probably the best team in the league, just because of just the overall phases of the game that they're highly elite at right now. Like face-off percentages, I believe they're 2, power play, they're 1, penalty kill, they're I think 4, point percentage first in the Metro, first in the Eastern Conference, first in wins. So they got a lot of things going in the right direction right now, and I think that since what's his face, Zibanejad's kind of started to spark, and he's playing really well, which is kind of driving the team right now. Where you kind of see, I don't know how you think of how the second line is playing right now, but personally, I think they're kind of struggling a little. I can't really recall many of goals been scored 5-on-5 from that Trocheck line. They did get the goal late in the last game against the Capitals, but it seems like they're struggling a little. But again, it seems like every time this year where a line is struggling or guys are struggling, it seems like someone's picking them up. When Igor was playing not so great, Quick was picking them up. When the second line was playing really good and the first line wasn't playing great, again, that second line was picking that first line up, and that kind of looks like it rotated. So some ups, some downs, but obviously you can't complain. Probably the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, you made a point about the second line. They have been slow a little bit. I mean, Panarin obviously had the really nice power play goal against the Caps, but that was obviously power play. It was Lafreniere who was able to score late, which was good because he's gone through a little bit of a scoring drought prior to these past couple games where I think he scored 2 goals, but in the last 5. But prior to that, there was a long scoring drought there for him. But yeah, the second line has slowed down a little bit, and that's where the first line Mika has really started to take over. I've actually thought that Blake Wheeler has actually played like okay. I mean, it's not still something the Rangers need to look into at the deadline, but he's been good. And again, like you talked about, I mean, I think Igor is starting to turn a corner, which is good. And that's what I wanted to ask too. Like, what have been your thoughts on Igor? You think that he's starting to find his rhythm again? You know, we talked about it going into the holiday break. He had you had Quick against Edmonton. Quick played really well. Unfortunately, the Rangers just they couldn't score, and the Oilers put up 4 goals, and they did the same thing to the Devils the night before where they were able to come back in the third period. That was unfortunate, but I thought he played really well. But I feel like since that game against Toronto, it was like rock bottom for him. Like since that point, he's been able to come back, and they beat Boston, they beat Toronto. He was in net for both those games, and then against the Capitals, I thought, I mean, look, he didn't need to do anything crazy. The Rangers played well in front of him. They did their job. They put their foot on the gas in the second and third period. But do you feel he's starting to find a groove and he's kind of back to the Igor Shesterkin that we all know as is one of the better goalies in the NHL?
Yeah, 100%. I think you can see his confidence come back, like especially on screenshots. It seems like he's getting better position, like where he's able to get out of a screen and make that save. Rebound control, I think, has been better. His breakaway and like one-on-one positioning has been really good. Just like you can just see his overall game just definitely coming along. As I think he's a very like mentally, I don't think he's a great player. Like I think when he's on, he's really like strong mentally, but you can tell like when he's not going through it, he kind of gets into his own head. And I think right now he kind of like was able to reset himself and just come back with 4 strong games. I believe. I think it was the Bruins game he played well in, and then he followed that up with I think Maple Leafs game was good,
Yeah.
Sabres game was good, and then just
Sabres, yeah.
recently he had 1 goal against the Capitals. So he's been good. It's just if that's I think the key to the season here. Obviously, I don't want to jinx it, but we're gonna make the playoffs, and it's gonna be can Igor get us to the cup? I think he's the X
Yeah.
factor of the whole team. Again, you're gonna have guys like Zibanejad and Panarin need them to come through, Kreider in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, Igor's got to be that guy. If you're gonna win the Stanley Cup, he's gonna have to be an elite player. So it's good to see him coming along. Very very positively, I can see him coming along better and playing better. It was a little concerning, but again, it's a
Yeah.
long season. As long as you see some sort of improvement by him before the playoffs, which again, we're way out, but he's been
Yeah.
really good though at the last couple of games.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to give Willander a ton of credit again as the goalie coach. Like they just anytime like Quick comes in here, he's been great. But anytime it seems like a goalie struggled, he's turned Quick around, and then Igor as well. He was struggling, and now boom, he's back into that groove. He didn't have like it wasn't a long struggle for him. And there was a couple tough games there. He had the Ottawa game that was pretty bad. The Capitals game where they lost 4-0, it was bad, but the team didn't show up, so I don't really put all that on him. I mean, they just didn't show up that night. And then the Maple Leafs game was bad, but now they turned it around. And again, like we've talked about, Bruins and Maple Leafs beating those two teams on the road, back-to-back games is huge for him and his confidence. And yeah, I mean, especially for a team that at times like struggles sometimes scoring 5-on-5, like in the playoffs, if that would to happen, you're going to need Igor at 100%. You're going to need Igor at that Vezina type level where if you do at times go through those scoring struggles, you have a goalie there that can make all the stops and make all the plays, unlike we saw for a couple games there early December and no, kind of late November as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it continues, but Igor's definitely finding his groove, and the fan base was kind of panicking, I guess. I don't know if you want to say panic, but it was definitely interesting to see all the fans, how they were reacting. But
Yeah.
just to go back to that Capitals game here for a second, what were your thoughts? Keandre Miller had a huge game, but what were your thoughts in this game as a whole? Obviously, the Rangers, a slow first period, which was expected. I was wondering what type of team we would see in this game coming off the holiday break. But after that goal by Anthony Mantha in the second period, I believe it was like early in the second period, the Rangers put out their foot on the gas, and then they scored 3 unanswered after that in the second, and then added 2 more on in the third.
Yeah, I mean, again, I thought they played well early in the game, but they weren't really getting obviously the puck to go in. That's really something that I think could hurt this team is letting teams kind of stick around a little. But they gave up the first goal, and then they were just able to respond really well. Like you get the goal by Miller pretty quickly after that. Then you get the power play goal by Panarin. I think Schneider scored right after that. They got like 3 quick goals to go up 3-1. Again, great response. And then pretty much after that, it was all Rangers. Again, you get the goals in the third period, but at that point, it was out of reach for the Capitals, especially how well Igor was playing. So again, just try to get a little bit quicker of a start. Don't try to get down. Don't try to let teams stay in the game, as you saw in the Oilers game where they let them stick
Mhm.
around and it kind of bites them. Same as the Sabres game where again, they won that game, but they let the Sabres stay around way too long in that. Like that game should not have been an overtime game. Like they should have put them away way earlier than that. Again, they're up 2-0, but still it's good to see like in that Capitals game, they were able to put their foot on the gas and just keep scoring. And I think that's a problem that they kind of run into lately, where like they're winning games, but they got to put these teams away earlier.
Yeah, I agree. The Oilers game was, I think, the most. I mean, obviously with the Sabres getting a win, it covered up some of that. But in the Oilers game too, that was very frustrating because they could have put them away, they should have put them away, and they didn't. You've seen that at times this year. But yeah, the slow starts, we've talked about them a lot, where they fall down 1-0, 2-0 early. They've got to claw their way back, and then they've got to play perfect on the defensive side. And sometimes they get too aggressive. And I thought that Oilers game, just in particular, I thought they were playing too much like East West. Like this team, they're so much better when they're just playing North South and they're just getting to the
Yeah.
net. They're taking shots, they're taking chances. Even the goal by Schneider was like right off the bench. Didn't have really much time to think. Got the puck and shot right away. He didn't, think too much and get the puck and try and do something too special with it. Whether it's a pass or whatever. He got it and he shot it, and that's exactly the success to victory in this one. Schneider is, I think Lavalette said it as well. Like that goal against the Maple Leafs was really nice. This goal as well was really nice. I think we're starting to see a little bit of some of that two-way player come out where he can be more of that offensive defenseman. But Keandre Miller's this year has had a little bit of an up and down season. I feel offensive. Like, how would you grade Keandre Miller this year? Because I feel as offensively I feel not as quite I guess powerful, whatever word you want to use, impressive as he was last year. But this was a really big game for him. And that backhand was beautiful and then scored again in the third. What was your thoughts on like Miller's season as a whole?
I think he's been okay.
He's been all right.
I think defensively he goes through some stretches where he kind of gets caught a lot. I think he's an aggressive
Yeah.
player. I think he kind of has a lot of faith in his speed and his stick because he's such a lanky guy. So he feels like he can get back on mistakes when he's like over pinching. But some games it's been like kind of ugly. And then obviously like some games like yesterday, you see him contribute offensively. He's got a lot of upside. I think he's a really good skater. Is something that you can see. I mean, he doesn't play the power play, but 5-on-5, he could be a pretty lethal player just because of his size and his speed. I think that eventually he should be hopefully like 50, 60-point player if he gets power play time, that regardless of what they're going to do as far as the two defensemen on the power play or not. But if he did play power play, I think you could see him getting like 60 plus points just as he was a forward in college. Again, elite skating, really good speed, really good size. Tends to take a lot of chances, which is could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think it's good for him that he's playing with Trouba, who's having such a good season.
Yeah.
Overall this season, I think he's been good. I think just hasn't been great, hasn't been bad. I think he's been solid because, again, I was saying he had some good games, some bad games. So you don't know what you're going to get out of him. But, again, he could have a game like yesterday or 2 days ago where he kind of just dominates it, gets you 2-3 points. And then I'll have some games where I think against the Senators he was bad. A couple turnovers, a couple
Yeah.
times getting caught. So he's a good player, though. A lot of faith in him.
Yeah, he sometimes gets caught up in like those, like he's young and he still makes some of those like mistakes where he's trying to be over aggressive, over pursuing of the puck, and then it comes back to bite him, especially near like the neutral zone. You see that a
Yeah.
lot with him. Um, but no, yeah, he's been solid. I think again, I still think there is maybe a little bit more offensive upside there that we saw last year, but again, like the power play time's obviously not there. If he can get that eventually, you'll probably see more. But yeah, I mean, 3-point game. This was good. And two, just to your point about Trouba, this was a big two for the Rangers to be able to make up for his loss because he went down in this game with upper body injury. And it was kind of surprising. It was just weird. He didn't show up on the bench. And for them to be able to still go out there and play well without obviously Trouba, who's put together a really nice season, was definitely another positive as well to take away from this game. So all in all, look, when you win 5-1, there's going to be a lot of positives and a lot of good things. Now, I want to get into the news we got earlier. We were talking about a little bit before we started recording here, and that's with Filipino. He's going back home, which isn't great. Hope everything's okay. You hope he can recover, but it's not good news for the Rangers, as looks like their, third line center and Hedo will still be out for a while. So what are your thoughts on this? And like, what do you think? Where do the Rangers go from here? I mean, Bonino's been solid, but he's not an offensive threat, as we've talked about a lot. So, like, how do you feel the Rangers should approach this?
I don't think they're going to do anything right now. I think that they're going to wait till probably the deadline to do anything. It's very unfortunate though because I was expecting a lot out of Heel this year.
Yeah,
I think he was. I think he could have scored 30 this year. I think playing with Panarin, I think they were clicking at the beginning of the season. He had like 6 points in those first 10 games that he played in. He was skating well. It's just it sucks to see a guy so talented get all these concussions. At least that's what's being reported. I assume it is, but yeah, it sucks. I mean, especially because of the scoring depth, as we were talking about earlier, where again, Benino, he's a good fourth line center, can win
yeah.
faceoffs, but you're kind of not really going to get much offensively out
He doesn't
of
have
him. And
one
I think
goal.
if the first two lines ever are like both not really producing,
Yeah,
or the power play goes down for a little, you're going to need other people to score. And that line hasn't really been producing much, even without Kako too, where you get Brodzinski, it's Benito and Coley. Coley shows some flashes, but I feel like for the most part, not really getting much out of that. So definitely hurts the team's depth. I think Hedel, Trocheck, and Zibanejad. I know I'm a little biased, but I can't really see many teams have a better top three centers than that. Just the offensive um, of those three guys offensively, probably one of the best top
yeah,
three guys. And then you got Trocheck, good at faceoffs, good defensively. Zibanejad, okay at faceoffs, but great both ways. And then you have Hedel, it's just like a spark plug where he's really fast, can skate with the puck, great offense. And then you kind of lose him probably for the season. You think he's done for the season?
uh, yeah. I mean, the way the article was, it said it was like for a reset. So I don't know if that's meaning like he was gonna come back in maybe like 2 months, but
Do you think
he's
it's that?
probably done. I mean,
Is he?
I
You
don't
think
think
he's
so.
like not progressing right, and they want to send him back, or
It's
is like you think this
he
is
might
part of
not be.
his rehab?
It, it could be part of his rehab. It might be that he's not progressing, and maybe
They just
they're
want him
sending
to go
him
home.
back just to like completely rest and recover, like mentally too.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It seems like if he was kind of close, he would not be going home. Like
No, if he
this is
was close, he'd be
probably yeah.
skating. And,
Like
yeah,
this is probably like maybe they don't even know he's done for the season, but I feel like at this point that is not a good
yeah.
sign. And if you had to choose yes or no, he comes back this season. What are you going with?
He's no.
Yeah, I agree. I
Probably
don't
not.
think he's gonna come back.
My just a little confused. Like, I'm not a doctor, and I hope everything's okay. But a concussion. I mean, I know he's had four of them, but I've never seen like this. It's got to be more, right? I feel like it's got to be more than just a concussion.
Well, I
Then
feel like
because there's been
for hockey
many other
players
players have
though,
dealt with the concussion issues, and they've never had like this. I don't know.
Crosby missed I think
Yeah.
2013 the
Well,
whole season with a concussion. And you've seen I mean, I don't know. It's a weird situation. Like at the end of the day, I just hope like for his health, everything
yeah,
is good. Again, hockey is just secondary at this point, but
yeah,
just hopefully gets better and hopefully gets back on the ice this season or next season.
yeah, yeah. I thought I'm just surprised because I thought he would. I mean, I know we talked about it a lot here, but I thought he would come back before Kako. I mean, I didn't think Kako was going to come back when he went
Yeah, I
down.
agree. But yeah, that
So
looked ugly.
yeah, um, but yeah, it stinks because he's so young, he's so talented, and similar to what we've seen from Lafreniere, and what we wanted to see from Kako was under this new coaching staff, take another step with obviously Trocheck and Zibanejad doing what they've done. If they could have had him in the fold, he's able to get to the net. He's good with the puck, fast skater. You've mentioned all the attributes. Like he was ready to kind of take off and really become one of the good, just solid, young, really good players in the NHL. And it's unfortunate because even before he got hurt, he was playing well. He was getting chances. Like he's one of those guys that even if he's not scoring, he's noticeable. Like he's generating chances. He's getting on net. Um, it's
He's
unfortunate.
good.
It's tough,
He's
but you feel
really good at skating with the puck. Not many guys can do that.
no. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So like just some trade deadline stuff. I mean, I know it's still a ways out, but you think Tarasenko probably on the radar potentially for the Rangers? Just, I mean, to fill the, I don't know. I mean,
I'd bring
it's
up
stuff. It's interesting.
three guys that I think that are possible wingers. I go Tarasenko just because he's familiar. They're going to trade him. They're not doing
Yeah,
well. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Right winger that they can
the
pair up
Senators are
with
a
Kreider and
disaster.
Zibanejad. Again, familiar with them. A couple of guys that I think, like, I don't know how you feel about this. Buchnevich, maybe. If the Blues
I
sell
mean,
off, they
I can
fire
see
their
that.
coach. If they don't make the playoffs, he's only got 1 year left at like 5.6 or something. Very doable with the cap coming up. Knows the team for the most part. I think he meshes well with them. Not many guys I feel like have been able to play well with Zibanejad and Kreider. Was it the KZB line back in the day?
Yeah,
Again, that could be nice to see him coming back. And then another guy is Matt Zuccarello. I know they're playing hot
Duke,
right
yeah.
now. They'll probably make the playoffs, but if they tail off, maybe see him coming. And then as far as centers, I saw a couple guys, maybe like Sean Monahan from the Canadians, and then Elias Lindholm. Maybe that could be an option. I don't know. It's far out, but again, you can have other injuries. You can have maybe Hilo comes back by then. Who knows?
Yeah, I like Lindholm. I didn't think of that name to be honest. Like I didn't, but yeah, I mean when you look at because what the
Flames will
Flames I
probably
think are
sell off.
sixth in the West, they're a disaster. Or sixth in the Pacific, I think they've got like 33
Yeah,
points. I can see. I like Zuccarello a lot. I'm all for Zook. I mean,
I think they'll
they're
be
all
good
three former
though.
Rangers, so I mean,
I think if I had to bet on one, I think there's above
I think
50% chance
it.
that Tarasenko.
I think Tarasenko's the most likely,
Yeah,
definitely.
even out of
Also,
the
just
two
because he was
centers.
here last year, he was just here.
But if Hedel is not back, I can see them maybe using Offman as that extra wing and then going out and getting a center like
Yeah,
Monahan or Lindholm because I can't see them being able to win the playoff. Like nothing on Benino, but again, he's probably not going to be a third line center in the playoffs. Hopefully,
yeah, I agree. I mean,
especially
I
if
mean,
Hedel is
Benino's
not.
good. He's just not. He's not. I mean, he's not Heedle. Just not. He's
Yeah,
not going
he's
to
not going to
score.
score any goals.
So I think he's had the one goal, right? The Benino goal.
Yeah,
That
like
was
that
Boston, I
backhand
think, right?
fluke
Was that
goal.
the Bruins game? The
Yeah, that it was the Bruins
7-4 or
game.
7
It
whatever
was
it
like a
was?
back. It was like a backhander. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like a fluky goal. Like I think I don't know if I think Omar played in that game. Probably should have saved it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably say if I had to go a list of most likely wingers, it'd be probably would be Tarasenko, Buchnevich, and Zuccarello because the Blues are terrible and I could see them wanting to sell off. Like the Wild out of
I
those
think the
three
Wild are
teams,
going to
they're
be in
most
it till the end though.
likely.
Yeah, I don't think the I don't I can't see them trading him. It just I
Yeah.
think that could
I
be an
mean, that's
option. Like
funny
I
though. I think
said,
they're worse than the Blues. I think they're below the Blues. I
right
think.
now I think, but I think
But
they've been
they're I
playing
mean the
better as
Blues
of
are
late.
only getting worse.
But
Yeah.
again, though, if I had to choose any of them personally, someone who's
I'd
obviously like realistically
Tarasenko.
going to get traded, like I mean, like someone like Stamkos or Nylander, who's like a UFA, they're not going to get moved. Like someone I could see getting moved that I would want would I kind of would want to see Buchnevich out of any of those guys.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. I was a big Buchnevich fan. I
I
love
I
his
know what
edge.
I Stamkos is intriguing.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I know I've heard of
he'll
it.
make the playoffs. You're not going to trade
Yeah,
him. Maybe
probably
in the
not.
offseason. I
It's
don't know where he'd
possible.
play unless
But I mean,
Heedle
would you have Heedle
retires.
at that back at that point? Like, what would
Or
I
maybe they
mean?
move Heedle to wing.
It's probably yeah.
They could do that.
Good.
Or I don't know. Stamkos play wing.
I like Stamkos. I've always have. I mean, not what he once was, but
That
he's
kind of
only
like
2 years removed. I think didn't he have that one like 100 point 106 point
not
season
last year. The
in
year. I think last year he had 100 points. I think last
I
year.
thought that was the year we played. I thought that was the year we played them in the conference finals.
I think last year he had 100 points. I'm not 100%. I thought he had like 108 points. Maybe he had 90 points last year. I could be
I think he
wrong.
had like yeah, because I think yeah, because I remember. So I think it was 2021, 22. Yeah, that was. Thought so when we played him in the
Yeah, no,
conference
you're right. He
finals.
had
The year he was
106 last year. He had 84 and 81 games. Still not bad though.
84. And then what this year? I think what is he 30,
35,
30
33. So
something,
over a point a
35.
game. He's only 33. Like
Good.
for hockey, like that's not that old. 33 years
Yeah.
old. And he's been
No, I
proven
mean
to
what
stay healthy.
he's got to be around Kreider, right? Kreider's what he's got
Kreider's
32, I
30,
think.
31, maybe. I think he's 31. I
Yeah.
think
Because
him
I think Kreider was drafted in 2009 and it
9,
wasn't
yeah.
Stamkos 2000, he must have been 2008. I think he was
He was the year
2008.
before. He was the first pick
Yeah.
the year before, yeah. I think
Yeah.
2009 might have been Tavares. Maybe he was the first pick that year. I don't know. But
Talk about good players coming out of those drafts. Jeez.
yeah.
And
We get lucky there.
for a while, it was possible that like McDavid would come here, but that's not
To New
happening.
York for
Yeah, I
what?
mean,
It's like a trade?
some people were dreaming
No, he's not going to be. He
McDavid
might
in
be a
New
Ranger at
York.
the end of his career when he's like 40.
It'll be like Patrick Kane all over again.
I
Bring it
think he's
on.
going to be good for a while though. So if you get him at like late 30s, he'll still be solid.
Yeah.
But again, his biggest attribute is the speed, and I assume with age that probably doesn't. You can't really maintain that.
What are your thoughts on just thinking? I feel like Gaudreau. What are your thoughts on him this season? I think he's had. I don't know. To me, he's missed some really good chances. He's had some. I know it's not his job as a fourth line center, but I feel like there's been a couple of times this year, especially recently. I don't know if it's with the mask on and the injury and stuff. If that's, but I feel like there's been a couple of times where he's not. It's not Ryan Strome misses, but he's
Yeah.
missed some really good chances.
My thing on him is yes, he's overpaid. 3.6 million is way too much for him, but he's a guy you're gonna need in the playoffs, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, good defensively, can play wing, can play center, is gonna block shots. Like I mean, in the playoffs, guys are gonna put their body on the line, and even more so, he will. So at the end of the game, we're trying to hold on to that 1 goal lead. You're gonna want him on the ice because without a doubt, I know for a fact that I can trust him. Like, hey, you're gonna go
Yeah.
out there, you're
And
gonna
he's
put your
done it
body on the
before.
line. Like Zibanejad and Kreider, like they maybe like try to get in the way of a puck at the end of the game, but like they're not really they don't really want to get hit. I feel like he's a guy that's gonna like hit me. I want to block this shot. And it's someone that you're gonna
Yeah.
need, especially with his playoff experience. I can kind of look back. I can look past the 3.6 million.
Yeah.
Again, like maybe he's missed a couple chances, but for the most part, that line I think has been one of the best fourth lines in the league, especially Jimmy Vesey. We need to talk more about Jimmy Vesey, dude.
Yeah.
He's a great fourth line player. He's got skill. He's good defensively.
He's
He's
scoring.
really good with the puck. He's score. I don't know. He might score like 15 goals this year. That'd be crazy. As a fourth, I
He
think he's
might.
already at like 8, right? He's close
Yeah,
to that.
he's got 7 and 4. He's got 11 points. He's Veezy's so good. I like Veezy's.
For a fourth line player, it's a steal
Yeah.
because he's got
And he's
skill and
cheap.
he's shown the ability to score.
Yeah. He's this. I never remember like this VZ the first time around, like this scoring from him.
Yeah, and he probably was on the higher lines at that point when he first
Probably.
came, probably top 6, top 9.
Yeah. Now, yeah, VZ's been really good. I've been impressed by him. I mean, all of them, like all the. I think we can like all the from the top down, all the left wingers have all been good. Like even Cooley and VZ, and obviously Kreider and Panarin at the top. Like they've all been really, really good this season. I think
Yeah,
right wing it's a little bit different because you've got like Pitlick at the bottom and then Blake Wheeler obviously at the top line, but some of that
yeah.
is unfortunate
Right
because
wing
of
hasn't been great.
Capo Caco. Right wing's an issue, which is why Tarasenko guys like that, but
Yeah,
left wing's been perfect, and then center. I mean, again the Hedl thing's unfortunate, but even with all these injuries, like how many teams would be able to survive all these injuries and still be at the top? Which
that's true.
is
I mean, scoring depth wise, the injuries, I
yeah,
feel like that's probably the most impact that we've had with those injuries. Just as the scoring depth has been kind of depleted with even. I mean, Kako wasn't scoring, but again, he can drive offense. He's really good in the boards, and then obviously we're talking about Hedel, great skater, can skate with the puck. So
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, but still sitting at 49 points. You got the 2 games coming up. This was definitely it's been exciting this season as a whole. Like, and I don't think any of us really expected this team to play this well for this long too. I think maybe early in it's just funny though. Like you look back all the way back to preseason when everybody was panicking. Oh, preseason we so
yeah,
bad, and now here we are. So just shows you not to buy much stock in. But the start of 2023 has been great. Now you got to shift focus here to 2024, and hopefully this team can continue to play at a high level. But they've got Florida coming up, Tampa coming up, Quicks in goal tonight, and then Igor will probably be in net tomorrow. What are your thoughts on these upcoming games? Which one do you think is most difficult?
they're both going to be difficult. I
Yeah,
mean, I assume that we get Vasilevsky against the Lightning. I mean, the Lightning are always going to be a good team. They probably have the MVP favorite right now on their team.
yeah,
So, and Kucherov, and then obviously the Panthers have been good. have a lot of good players, a gritty team. So they're going to be tough games, especially both on the road, both back to back. If I had to guess, I assume they probably lose one and win one. I don't think they're going to take both. But if they can go out and get, I think I read somewhere where if they get 2 points on this road trip, they'll be on pace with like a bunch of teams at like the halfway point, where or not halfway point, but almost halfway point. But at the new year, I think the other years where they were at the top of the league at this point, one of the years was '94, and we all know what happened that year. So really quick, we got to talk about Zibanejad. I feel like we didn't really mention him that much, and he is on fire. I feel like in his last, I think he's got like a 6 or 7 game, 7 games in a row at a point or something.
He is.
And
he's been on fire.
He has been insane, and I think he scored maybe I want to say 7 goals maybe in his last
10.
6
he's got
games or something.
Yeah, he's got 7. Oh, he's got 5 in his last, or 4 in his last 5. And he's got 7 in his last 10 as a whole. I think on Wednesday on the broadcast they were talking about. I think he's had points in 15 of his last 16 games or something like that. He's been crazy, but
I think
I was looking at the numbers. What were we saying?
I'm saying I think he's got a point in every game since the last game, besides the game they got shut out in, which again you can't just say besides that game. But if you take away that one game where they didn't score any goals, the last game he didn't record a point in, I think, was all the way back in November. It was November 20th against the Stars. Over a month. He's in over a month span. He's had one game without a point, which is insane.
Mika December, dude, and this month he's the only player in the NHL to have more points this month, because Zibanejad has had 19 in 12 games is McKinnon.
Yeah, he's on fire. I mean, if he plays you think hot take here, but I think if he plays close the rest of the season, he gets 100 points. I think
it's possible. I mean,
2 guys for the Rangers this year get 100 points.
Mika's always had throughout his entire career, he's always had highs and lows. He's a hot player. He's a streaky I don't know if you want to call him. He's not streaky, but
he's not bad. I don't think he ever plays bad. Sometimes he's scoring, sometimes he's not.
Yeah,
that's how I put it.
It's
not like he's going through stretches like Timo Meyer where he's terrible.
Yeah,
and then he happens to score 4 goals in 2 games or whatever. But he's always going to play good defensively. He's always going to be in the penalty kill. Always going to be in the power play. Whether or not he's scoring is something to talk about. But I think you're always going to get a good game out of him. Very rarely you see him play bad defensively.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, defensively as well can make up for the lack of scoring at times. But when he scores in bunches, he's so hot. And you see it there. He's got already 13 goals. I mean, going into this month, I think he had 5 goals going into this month. He comes out of the month, he's gonna have 13 goals. It's just it's
you think he's gonna be in the top 3 player of the month this month?
Definitely. I mean, you look at just
or McKinnon. I think he's having pretty
good month. I mean, Kucherov's on fire, so he might be up there. I mean, because every night he's doing something. But yeah, McKinnon's high. I mean, he's the only one with the more points than Zibanejad. But you look at the beginning of the season, Zibanejad jumped Kreider too in points now. Zibanejad's got 35, Kreider got 31. Yeah, it's crazy to think. At the beginning of the year, Zibanejad was at the bottom. I think Trocheck too at some point had even more points. Zibanejad was 4th or 5th on the team at points, and now he's all the way up to 2nd.
And those guys aren't even playing bad,
which is crazy.
Trocheck and Kreider are not even playing bad.
It's just
Zibanejad's scoring a crazy. He's scoring better than Panarin right now.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, I agree.
Over under 2.5 goals, Zibanejad in this road trip here. This 2-game set, 2.5.
Well, he didn't score against Washington. He scored back-to-back before that.
I think he scored. I think he's going to get more than 2.5. I think he's going to get 4 goals.
4 goals over the next 2 nights?
I think he's going to have a monster road trip. Yeah. Maybe he puts in a hat.
I could see it. I mean, it's still December. He gets hot. He just gets hot. When he's hot, he's so good.
I also feel like Lafreniere finds ways to score against the Panthers. Yeah, watch for Lafreniere to score tonight. I can see him putting one in.
Benino?
No. Maybe him. Maybe
I could see Mika, but you're saying Mika 4 goals over the next 2 games.
Yeah.
So 2 goals tonight, 2 goals tomorrow, or a hat trick.
Watch him get hurt in the first minute. He's gonna get 4 goals. He's gonna have a big. He's
I mean,
gonna
I
have a
could
big
see him
way to
getting
end
like
this.
2. I could see getting 2 tonight or 2 tomorrow or splitting, but
You don't think
4
three at
goals.
least?
3
Maybe he doesn't even
he
score
just
a goal. I
scored
could be
3 the
wrong.
other day. Didn't he have 2? He had 2 against Toronto, and he followed it up by the goal against Edmonton. So
Yeah,
over under. What about over under 6
it's two and
points
a half,
next 2
two,
games?
6 points in 2 games,
Next 2 games.
like 5.5 or
Five and a
six
half.
under
Yeah,
that.
5. We go five
Five,
and a half.
5.5. I mean, if I'm
Because if
saying
he
he's gonna
scored
score 4 goals,
4
then
goals,
yeah,
yeah, then all he
yeah,
needs is just 2 assists.
yeah. He's gonna. I think he'll get for a fact.
Zibanejad taking
He'll
over
score at
forward.
least 1 goal, and I could see that definitely gonna score one of those one
He'll
timers.
definitely score a goal.
He's gonna like
How
drift
many?
off, and he's gonna
What do
score
you
one.
say?
He's gonna like drift off or like on the boards, and he's just gonna wind back and just rip one in. Vasilevsky. Remember that one game or that series he was just killing him on the blocker side.
Yeah.
That he's gonna beat Vasilevsky for 1 or 2 goals. Dude, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I want to look this up. I think he has really good numbers in Tampa, like really good numbers going to Tampa Bay. Because
Well,
you
didn't
remember,
he? Yeah, I think he scored that game 3 against the Lightning when they lost. When they were up 2-0. I think him and Kreider were the ones, right? I think they scored.
the
How
one, yeah,
many?
the one that they were up, he scored.
So by the
Like
next time we
he's
do a
really good numbers
podcast,
against Tampa. Like last year to open up the season, he had 2 goals opening night, and then they went to Tampa Bay later in the season. Actually, the same day. It was the 29th of last year. He scored a goal. And then they played them at the end of the season. He had 3 assists against Tampa. That's crazy. He had
how
six
many?
points in the 3 games last year versus Tampa.
So we're saying a Mika hat trick tomorrow night. Calling it right now.
Mika, yeah, I'm saying he scores one tonight. Maybe he gets an assist, and then he goes out. He's putting in at least two
2.
against Tampa
Yeah.
Bay.
How
Like
many goals against Carolina?
on,
So by the next time we do the podcast, like if that's Wednesday, Thursday, how many goals will Mika have
would
on
you
the
say he's
year?
got 13?
Yeah.
Oh, 17.
So you don't think you think he just scores 4 the next 2 nights?
Yeah.
Not against
Also, like
Carolina.
I'm looking at 2 years down the road. On 21-22, he played them 3 times again. First game, he didn't score any goals against them, but then he had a hat trick, and then he had a goal. And then I don't know if you remember this, the goal that he scored late in the season at Tampa Bay, they scored at the very end of the game. He scored like a one-timer, like in the dying seconds to win the game.
Yeah, well, last season, like you said, against Tampa, 6 games or 3 games, 6 points.
Plus 2 years ago, I'm saying he had
Yeah,
the
2
4
years
points
ago
in
it
three
was
games, the
4
hat
points
trick
in 3
game,
games.
and then he had the game-winning goal. And then in the playoffs, he was very good against Tampa. He likes playing against Tampa Bay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna
What
say.
about if we go all the way back to 2019? 2019.
He might have even played against Tampa because I know he missed a lot of that season.
Yeah, I don't even think he played Tampa.
The one that was cut off with COVID, and then obviously the year after they didn't play Tampa.
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
was the
saying though,
COVID.
he's hot right now, and he's
3
he's
points.
going to a place, going up against a team he does well against. I guarantee you they mentioned something before like the game because I think he like has an absurd like shooting percentage on Vasilevsky. That's all I'm gonna say.
I do remember the playoffs. He had the better hand.
He scores on Vasilevsky. If you're a betting man, Mika anytime goal scorer, definitely tomorrow. I'm gonna ride that one. That's my pick of the weekend. Mika
If you
anytime goal
go,
scorer.
if you go all the way back to 2018, 2019, he, I think, had 3 goals and 3 points in 3 games, so he had a point a game.
He plays. I'm telling you, Tampa Bay. He comes out and he plays well. I mean,
What about his
again, yeah,
first season with the Rangers, 2016, 2017? I know he only played like 56
he
games.
must he must have had a big series like point wise against them in the playoffs because I know he had at least 3 goals in that series. At least 3 goals in that series. He was really good in that series. That's like, I mean, again, obviously you lose in 6 games, but those
Yeah,
first
well,
two games,
I mean, I think he had 3 goals in the first 3 games.
yeah,
And then the
game one he had
offense
a
just
goal and
went
assist.
silent.
Game two he had a goal. Game three he had a goal and assist, and he didn't do anything in the next 3 games.
Do
But
you think if they win game 6, they win that series?
yeah, going back to the Garden, they won game 5. They won that series. Game 5, I before that game, I was talking to my dad. I was like, the winner of this game is winning the series.
Yeah.
And they go up 1-0, and they gave up 2 weak goals from the point. And then at the end, the thing that kills me about that series is that they gave up those goals so late in that game. Those 2 games that they lost, like
Yeah.
game 3, I think it was Palas scored, but like 30 seconds left, and then what's his
And
name?
like
Sergachev
Hagel.
scores.
I
I
thought
don't
it
think
was
Hagel scored in
well,
that series.
I thought Sergachev was the second period.
Did he not get credited with that goal at the end? Like someone tipped that in at the last goal at the end of the third period. Maybe somebody tipped that in.
Yeah, that
You
game.
could be right.
I knew it too. Games 1 and 2, we knew they were gonna play well because
Tampa had a break.
Tampa had a break, but
yeah. And then you go up 2-0 in game 3. I'm thinking the cup is coming home.
Dude, when we went up 2-0,
after
I'm
that
like, we're
second
winning the
goal,
Stanley Cup.
I was like 2-0 in the series. We're hot. We're gonna
That was
take
on
it
my
to champs.
That game was on my birthday too, which was terrible. I was so hyped up. I was like, we're winning the cup, and then
I think
2-0,
it's
and
gonna be
they
the
blew it.
Avalanche. I think Shesterkin again. Vasilevsky's good, but he wasn't playing well in that whole entire. I don't think he played well at all.
That stupid power play goal by Kucherov to just set the series off. I think that game had like 4. Didn't game 3 have like 4 power play goals because the Rangers scored
There were
both
so
their
many
power plays.
Yeah, there were
and
so many power
then
plays in that game.
I think Kucherov scored, and then Stamkos. I think his goal too was power play.
Yeah, and then at the end of the game, obviously,
Palat, right?
Palat scored like a.
I thought
the game was going to overtime.
I think it was like 50 seconds left. Yeah.
Like there was at that point there was not a lot of time to kind of get your 6-on-5 set up.
Yeah.
So. But like I said, Zibanejad, big game coming against Tampa, and I think tonight maybe does something too. Maybe not some goal. Maybe scores a point tonight, like an assist, and he goes for like 4 against Tampa.
4
Dude,
goals.
I'm telling you, he plays well against Tampa. He's in Tampa Bay.
Should be fun. Going all in on the Mika anytime goal scorer.
Put the house on
it. So anyway, that'll do it for the episode of the Talking Rangers podcast. We'll be back next week discussing more. Maybe we'll be discussing 5-goal performance. Go back to the Washington Capitals game. Mika puts up 5 goals against the Lightning. But see you next time. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.